When I first started trading, I watched all of my profits literally evaporate because I was using the wrong fees and settings. In this video, I'm going to make sure that you don't do the same thing. Before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and most importantly, join my Discord, Soul Mafia. It is the #1 way you can become a better trader, and it's 100% free for a limited time. Also, download BullX. It's the software that we use, and you won't be able to follow along with the rest of the video without it. So let's talk fees and settings. So first, you have the gas fee. Then you have something called slippage. And then last, you have something called MEV protection and the bribe fee, which goes hand in hand with MEV protection. Let's start with gas fees. So every single time that you are trying to buy a token, you have to go through someone else who is like validating your transaction. So he looks at your transaction and makes sure that you can buy the token or not. Now, at the same time, you have a lot of people just like you trying to buy this transaction, right? You're not alone. A bunch of people are trying to buy and sell at the same time. And so they're all going through this middleman saying, hey, we all want to buy this token. So how does he pick who gets to buy it first? That's your gas fee. The person with the highest gas fee is going to be able to have his order validated by the middleman first because he's paying more. That's capitalism for you. Naturally, since you have a bunch of people trying to buy a coin at the same time, your token is going to go up, and that's how candles and like purchases work, right? If a bunch of people are trying to buy the token at the same time, it's going to go up by a set amount of time. So let's say that you put in the order to the validator at $100, and then the coin in the meantime went up to 150. Now that's a large increase. You might be okay or not okay with buying it at 150. So that is what slippage is. Slippage is the amount of percent that you're okay with the coin changing after you place the order and before your order gets accepted or rejected. And this also applies to the token going down. So let's say your slippage is 50%. And the token went down by 60%. So it was at 160, and then it went down to like 100. If your slippage is at 50%, it would actually say no and reject the order that went up to 60%. But it would say yes and accept the order that went up by 50% because your slippage is 50. It's the maximum that you're letting the bot accept or reject an order. And then what you have, which is always really, really interesting, and I'll have a full video that explains this and how it works, but you have something called MEV bots, and what those are robots that will come in and look at this entire transaction. They look at everyone placing the order into a coin, and what they do is they say, hey, this guy has a high slippage, so I'm gonna come in and buy the coin before him for a lot of money. So like he'll put in like 5 SOL or like a big order and then sell it immediately and take his slippage amount. So like the bot will say, hey, I'm gonna go and buy it right here because you bought in right here, and I'm the one who's gonna make it go up by 50%. But then right after, I'm gonna sell it right after your token gets filled so that I make the 50% out of you. And so that's what MEVing is. It's really cool. And there is a way around it, and that is by going via a private validator. You're going to go through a private guy who's going to make sure that no one else can see what transaction you're doing, and so that you can get around the MEV bots and get your order filled. Now, again, this private guy costs money, and that's why you either enable or disable MEV protection and how much you pay your bribe fee, right? So your bribe fee is going to be how much you pay to the private guy to have the order filled privately on top of the gas fee. And MEV protection is either you going with a private guy or you're not going with a private guy, which is going to depend on your preferences, your risk tolerance, and how much money you're investing in. So now we're going to go into the exact numbers that I personally use for all of these settings. A cool feature that BullX has is that you can set different presets for each of your fees. So if I click right here, I can actually open up my fee presets and edit them. But before we start looking at my exact presets, let me show you something even cooler. You could go to a specific token and see the average fees that other people are putting in for that token so that you can make slightly higher fees than the average and get your orders filled before everyone else. And that's what I like to do. And I'm going to go over each of my personal presets. So my first preset is when I'm trading under 1 Solana. At first, when I was doing this, I was getting destroyed on fees because my fees were pretty high and I would make like 20 bucks, but end up losing 15 of that to fees and just lose most of my money, and it would not be fun. So now you can actually set your fees to these numbers. I have 0.0018 as my priority fee, which is right above the 0.0015 average. I have a buy slippage of 30%, which is just personal preference. You can play around. If you're okay with more volatility, you can go 40 and go even 50, but I like to stay around 30. I have buy MEV protection enabled, and then I have a bribe fee of 0.0065. Under my sell settings, I have the same sell priority fee, 0.0018. I have a higher slippage of 75% because if I'm selling, that means that I want to get out and like that's it. I don't really want to deal with the token going down to more than 75% and then me not being able to fill my order. And then I disabled MEV protection because it's a lot harder to get MEV'd when you are selling. It's pretty much very, very rare and you shouldn't be worried about it happening. Now, when I'm trading above 1 Solana, I'm using fees that are a little bit higher just because I want to get my orders filled more quickly because I'm trading with more money. So I'm looking at 0.01 priority fee, 30% slippage, enabled MEV protection, and then 0.1 bribe fee. And then for my sell settings, it's the same thing, 0.1 priority fee, 75% slippage, no MEV protection, and 0.1 bribe fee. And then under the alt preset that I have, which is my last preset, I have like a faster fee of 0.3, 30% slippage with MEV protection and 0.3 bribe. And then under my sell settings, I have 0.3, 100% slippage disabled, and 0.3. And I pretty much use this when I really want to get out of a coin. So if I see like a coin is dumping and like being rugged, I want to be one of the first people out. And I don't care if I pay slightly higher fees. I'm just trying to use the ultimate, and just get out of the coin as quickly as possible. So in addition to the around 2% in fees that we're going to be using for gas and bribe fees, you're also going to be seeing a few fees that aren't really shown. You see around 1%, and it's 0.9% if you used my link on BullX, and then you use 0.5% that goes to pump fund. So in reality, you're actually paying between 3 and 4% in fees on average on every transaction that you're making. So you really have to keep that in mind, and that's why you're probably seeing profits and then not seeing it add up and wondering what's happening. Well, if you're making a lot of trades and you're trading with a lot of volume, but in reality, 3 to 4% of that is going away, and your profit and P&L margin is like 10%, but then you have to subtract that 3 to 4%. You're in reality only making like 6 to 7%, and it adds up over time. So definitely make sure that you're watching out for fees. They can really eat you up, and that's why you have to be trading with numbers that are around 0.5 to 1 to more than 1 SOL, or else you're not really going to get anywhere because the fees are just going to be eating you up. And I know like it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really adds up. It sneaks up on you, and so you just have to be careful with that. Make sure that your gas fees and your bribe fees aren't too high, that your slippage is pretty good, and then use my link to have your fees lowered on BullX. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way here, I know you are part of the elites, and we're gonna make a shit ton of money together. Once again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and most importantly, join the Discord, Sol Mafia. It is the #1 way you can become a better trader, and it's 100% free for a limited time. I'm not gonna be charging for membership until we get a lot bigger of a community and I can provide you guys with like surefire value. So join up, follow me on socials, and I'll see you